In this video, we will look at how the CNS is protected and why it is so important that it is. The central nervous system, or CNS, is the command center of the body. Every thought, movement, sensation, and regulatory decision depends on it. Because of this, damage to the brain or spinal cord can result in serious and permanent consequences. To prevent this, the body uses a coordinated protection system involving physical barriers, fluid cushioning, and chemical regulation. Protection of the CNS is not handled by a single structure. Instead, it relies on multiple layers working together. These include rigid bones, protective membranes, cushioning fluid, and a chemical barrier that regulates what enters brain tissue. Each layer plays a distinct role. Beneath the skull and vertebral column are three connective tissue membranes called the meninges. The dura mater is the tough outer layer that resists tearing. The arachnoid mater is a delicate middle layer that creates space for fluid. The pia mater closely follows the surface of the brain and spinal cord, supporting blood vessels and nutrient delivery. Between the arachnoid and pia mater flows cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF. CSF acts as a shock absorber, allowing the brain to float slightly within the skull. This reduces effective weight and minimizes damage during sudden movement. CSF also transports nutrients and removes waste. An important exam concept is that CSF protects by cushioning, not immobilizing. Controlled movement is safer than rigid fixation. When CSF circulation is disrupted, pressure can build up, leading to conditions such as hydrocephalus. The blood-brain barrier, or BBB, is a specialized feature of CNS blood vessels. It restricts the movement of many substances from the bloodstream into brain tissue, protecting neurons from toxins, pathogens, and sudden chemical changes. The blood-brain barrier is selective, not absolute. Essential substances such as oxygen and glucose are allowed through, while many drugs and harmful chemicals are blocked. This makes treatment of brain disorders more challenging. The spinal cord is protected by the same layered system as the brain: vertebrae, meninges, and cerebrospinal fluid. However, spinal injuries are especially dangerous because damaged neurons in the spinal cord often cannot regenerate. The spinal cord is often described as a communication highway between the brain and body. However, it does more than transmit signals. It integrates information and produces rapid protective responses, such as reflexes. In cross-section, the spinal cord shows two distinct regions. Gray matter contains neuron cell bodies and is responsible for information processing. White matter contains myelinated axons that transmit signals rapidly over long distances. This organization reflects function, not color. Gray matter is divided into functional regions. The dorsal region receives sensory information. The ventral region contains motor neurons that send commands to muscles. This separation allows sensory input and motor output to be processed efficiently. White matter pathways are organized into tracks. Ascending tracks carry sensory information from the body to the brain. Descending tracks carry motor commands from the brain to the body. Because these pathways are predictable, neurologists can locate injuries based on lost function. The spinal cord can integrate reflexes independently of the brain. In a reflex response, sensory input enters the spinal cord, is processed locally, and produces a motor response before the brain becomes aware of the stimulus. This allows rapid protection from harm. Each spinal nerve is a mixed nerve, meaning it contains both sensory and motor fibers. This allows information to travel to and from the CNS through the same nerve, supporting efficient two-way communication. The nervous system controls the body in two main ways: somatic and autonomic control. Somatic control is voluntary, autonomic control is involuntary. Although often taught separately, these systems are highly integrated in real life. The somatic nervous system controls voluntary movement of skeletal muscles. It typically involves a single motor neuron connecting the CNS directly to the muscle, allowing fast and precise control. The autonomic nervous system regulates involuntary functions such as heart rate, digestion, breathing, and glandular secretion. Autonomic pathways usually involve two neurons, allowing fine-tuned regulation and continuous control of homeostasis. The autonomic nervous system has two divisions. The sympathetic division prepares the body for action, often called fight or flight. The parasympathetic division promotes maintenance and recovery, often called rest and digest. These systems work together, not against each other. The CNS integrates somatic and autonomic control to produce coordinated responses. For example, during exercise, you consciously contract muscles while autonomic centers adjust heart rate, breathing, and blood flow. Homeostasis depends on balance. Disruption of either system or their integration can lead to disease. Understanding how these systems work together helps explain stress responses, paralysis, and autonomic disorders. Look at the sample question. When a person touches a hot surface and withdraws their hand before feeling pain, the spinal cord is responsible. The response is processed locally to protect the body before conscious awareness occurs. The central nervous system integrates information, coordinates responses, and maintains homeostasis. Structure supports function, protection is multi-layered, and integration is essential. Understanding the CNS as a unified system is key to understanding how the body survives and adapts. Hopefully you have a better understanding of this having viewed this video.